7 warrior clans, histories and cultures and magic and all of that into the first book, when the first book is very closed off.
Did you try again?
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a really exciting video. We are going to do a deep dive into my books, the Curse of Ophelia series. Let's get started. In my last video, when I did my little author intro, I talked about how I wanted to do a whole deep dive and tell you all about the Curse of Ophelia series. So we're gonna do that today. So I will say I do have all of the hardcovers, even the Myths of Ophelia, that is not out yet, in my possession finally, which I didn't have last week. I couldn't show you all of these books last week. I am very, very excited to be able to do that today. You'll see on the shelf behind me, I can't like get a good angle of my shelves with this camera because the lighting comes from right next to the shelves, which is beautiful in terms of me getting to admire my books. But for recording purposes, it is atrocious. So you can kind of see that I have some of the paperbacks there and then the hardcover editions that I will show you as we get into them. I'm very excited to talk to you about the Curse of Ophelia series, let you know a little bit what it's about, and maybe it'll be something that you'll love. Let's get into it. I had shown you the books last week. Again, the lighting is so not ideal. Like, this is what the covers should look like. And they just don't in this lighting, but just pretend that this is what we're looking at. And this is like a really pretty like magenta-y purple, and that color is very important because the main character, Ophelia, has magenta eyes. She has had them since birth. Nobody knows why. If you're a fantasy reader, your brain is probably kicking off right now. But this is book 1 in the series. This is the Curse of Ophelia, and the tagline is, "If she's meant to die, she'll greet her fate with a wicked smile." That says a lot about what is to come in this series and her attitude and her fate. Book 1 in the series, The Curse of Ophelia, starts 2 years after a war has ended and a curse that was on the Mystique Warriors, which is Ophelia's warrior clan, was lifted. At the end of the war, a treaty was signed. The other warrior clan who had placed the curse on them had it lifted. But at the same time, the boy that Ophelia loves, Malachi, went missing. So not only was her warrior clan in now this war-torn state, but the boy she loves went missing, and she was also told that she is no longer allowed to be a warrior because Malachi went missing when he left to attempt the undertaking, which is a ritual that Mystique warriors do when they turn 18, and if they pass it, they become an ascended warrior. They have their full warrior status. If they don't pass it, they unalive. So he went to go do this ritual and never came back. And it was deemed that something was wrong with the ritual because Malachi was the heir to the ruler of the Mystique Warriors, who's called the Revered. He was the next Revered, he's the heir. If he didn't come back, something is very, very wrong with this ritual. So that's where we start. We start with Ophelia just being depressed and miserable and not very nice to people that are around her. Like, she has this group of friends who is really sticking by her side, and her family, obviously, and she's not very nice to them. But this is a healing journey. We're going on a healing journey, okay? Remember that. Remember that when you want to throttle her sometimes. Remember that she has been through a lot of trauma and that we have to go on a journey with her. You know, if that's something that you enjoy as a reader, is character-driven books where you really get to watch the emotional and mental journey of the characters, then you're gonna like this series because I write with a lot of emotion. I like flawed characters because we as humans are all flawed. And characters that are perfect don't feel real to me. I want someone that has been through it, that has maybe not always handled everything correctly, and that's what I did in this book. So that's Ophelia's starting point. This book is a quest book, so there is some traveling time. There is some time in a forest that we're gonna see a little bit more of the world, but not even the tip of the iceberg. We're seeing like 0.5% of the world because there is so much going on in this world. Ophelia goes on a journey. She is sent on this journey by a messenger. A mysterious messenger sends her on this journey. Oh, and by the way, she's also cursed. Yeah, remember that curse that was lifted? Somehow reappears on only her. And because our girl Ophelia is not in the best mental state, she's kind of like, well, I guess I'll see Malachi again if he really is gone. because she is the only one who believes that Malachi did not during the undertaking. She thinks something else is going on. She and Malachi have soul-binding tattoos that don't necessarily work as they should. They got them illegally right before he left. They were not supposed to get them until much later in their life, but they did, and then he left. And she thinks that while it doesn't work entirely as it should, she can't totally feel him, she thinks that she would know if he was unalived. This is also really hard to do without spoilers because there are 5 books out in the series right now, so I'm just doing my best. I'm doing my best. She has this curse that theoretically should kill her in a few days, and she's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna do this first. So she goes on this quest to try to find Malachi and prove that he did not unalive, and to try to become a warrior and complete the undertaking that has been forbidden and restore her clan to their former glory before her curse takes her life. Kind of a tall order. The girl's got a lot of responsibilities on her shoulders. We'll see if she can do it. On this quest, she goes with her found family. And I will say, her found family is probably the thing that readers tell me they love the most in this book, is the character relationships. These are characters that she has known, the people, warriors, a human, that Ophelia has known for quite some time. And a lot of them have been in her life for a very long time. And they stand by her. They do not give up on her. They give her the tough love that she needs when she's not acting the best. Obviously I adore these characters, but I love how much readers love these characters. It makes my day, it makes my life, it makes my year, whatever you want to say, when readers message me and tell me how much they love the characters in the Curse of Ophelia series. Along the way, they uncover a lot of political schemes, ancient angelic prophecies. The warriors are descended from angels. The warriors do not worship the gods. The warriors do not keep the gods. There are 7 warrior clans in this world. They are called the Galantian warriors. Ophelia is a mystique warrior. They are descended from angels, so they worship the angels. So every warrior clan has an angel that is sort of their founder. They're called the prime warrior. And they've got a little bit of meddling that they're going to be doing here. So that is book 1. And I will not spoil anything, I promise. But book 2, The Shards of Ophelia, this white cover, I love it so much. It's very symbolic of what we're going to see in this book. I'll let you do what you will with that. Book 2 opens up the world so much more. We get to see more of the other warrior clans because each warrior clan is very unique. They each have a different magic system. They each have a different political structure, different customs, different rituals. There's a lot of political intrigue in this book. There are a lot of new characters introduced that are going to really, really grip onto your heart. There's a lot of crying in this one. This book has some scenes that I don't know if I've ever gotten, maybe in the last book, but I don't think other than that, I've never gotten so many messages about people crying. It also has so much healing and so much growth and so many tough decisions that I have been told really reflect real life. This book is so, so special to me, and it seems to be really special to readers, which means a lot to me. So let's talk some tropes of this book specifically. Book 1, we had a quest, we had lost love, the childhood sweethearts, found family, very touch her or touch him, and unalive energy from many characters involved. We have the meddling angels. We have all of those things in book 1. This book has a 1 horse to 1 bed progression that is just, you're gonna eat it up, giggle, and kick your feet. It has some like she rescues him scenes. It has festival scenes. It has ballroom scenes. There's not a lot of spice in the first 2 books because everything is such a slow burn that the spice will come later on in the series, but there is a lot of like tension in this book in particular, a lot of romantic tension. It does have a spicy scene that makes readers cry. Maybe that's up your alley. This book in particular is just a heart-wrenching book, and I love it so much for that. And then we get into where the series really starts to grow and the books get a lot longer. This is book 3, The Trials of Ophelia, with this gorgeous blue color. I don't know if it's focusing on this. This gorgeous blue cover that I just adore so much. And again, I can't say a lot about this one because it is book 3 in the series, but you thought the world opened up in book 2. The world is never going to stop opening up in this series. Every book we get more world building. I wrote this series to feed you the world building piece by piece. You might read the first book and think, oh, I really wanted more of the world building. Don't worry, you're gonna get it. You're getting it as you need it. I didn't want to dump 7 warrior clans, histories and cultures and magic and all of that into the first book when the first book is very closed off.
Could you try again?
Okay, that was funny. Where was I? I didn't want to dump everything into that first book. I wanted to feed it to you as necessary because there was so much to learn about this world. There is still a lot more to learn about this world. I will say that even if you've read all of these books, there is a lot of things we don't know yet. This one, The Trials of Ophelia, follow the angels to death and dismay or glory and grace. So that's what we're dealing with now. They cannot catch a break. I will never let them catch a break. However, this book, it's a lot of healing. Again, this is probably one of my favorite character arcs. God, I can't say that about every book, but like they all have a different character that really shines in them for me. And this one I love. We get a really good who did this to you in this book. We get a nightmare trope where she comforts him. We get a cave scene where there's no bed. We get a hunt for magical items. There is a war actively happening in this book. So not even just brewing tensions, like it is here, it's happening. We get a lot more lore. Really good things in this book that I can't spoil for you, but the slow burns be slow burning, let's say that. And the Greek mythology is kicked up a notch. So if you are a reader who likes Greek mythology, I'd say I framed this entire world, kind of all the different realms I write in, on a Greek mythology inspired world. But the actual references to the myths are very subtle. I don't do like a retelling, I just take inspiration. This whole series I'll say is a bit of a gender bent Hercules, because that means that the female main character is the Hercules figure, not the male character. So that's what this entire series is. I think that shines a lot starting in this book. It is in the early books, but this one in particular is where a lot of that is coming into play. And I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to spoil anything. I do love this book though. This one's a slow burning one, I think. I think that a lot of readers love it the more they think about it, from what I hear. I hope you love it too. And then contrary to what some people ask me, no, The Curse of Ophelia is not a trilogy. There are 6 books total. And that includes book 3.5, little bitty, The Breaker of Stars. This one is special. The Breaker of Stars is book 3.5. You have to read it. Listen to me. You have to read it. It's just a novella. No, it's not just a novella. The Breaker of Stars takes place after the Trials of Ophelia, before the Myths of Ophelia. It chronologically takes place there, and in terms of it making sense in the story, that is where it should be read. If you read it before, you're going to be lost, and you're going to spoil things for yourself. And if you read it after, you're going to really miss some important context for book 4. This follows 2 characters, I won't say who, on a little side quest that they go on. There's second chance romance, but we've not gotten their point of views before, so we don't really know what has been going on between them. There's clear tension. Someone is clearly very grumpy. Something happened. We don't know what. This is where we're getting their points of view of figuring out what has gone down between them. There's a few flashbacks to help us work that out, but it takes place in between books 3 and 4. On their side quest, it's a bodyguard romance. There's a hot springs scene that has become very infamous. The one bed in this book is a character. Like, that's all that I'm going to say about that. Actually, the first line is one effing bed. That's the first line of this book. So if that tells you anything, you're going to have a really good time with this. It also just has a lot of like sweet moments that I loved writing so much. Just the things this man says. We love him. We love him. So do not skip out on this. It's our first taste of the real celestial magic that goes into this world. And there's so much celestial magic in this world. But it's the first taste of it. Definitely do not skip The Breaker of Stars, book 3.5. And then we have The Myths of Ophelia, which honestly a lot of readers have said this is their favorite in the series so far, and I understand why. This book gives us answers. We've been building up questions for 3.5 books before this, and we are finally getting things done. You know, we are getting that really satisfying reveals, and we're raising more questions, but we are finally figuring things out. Until, you know, I launch you off a cliff at the end, but like, of course. The Myths of Ophelia, book 4. Can she break the angel's curse, or will they break her first? Big reveals, big characters being pushed to the brink. Lots of mythology, as you might guess based on the title. That celestial magic is coming back in this one. The lore is getting so much deeper in this one. It's setting up for what I truly, truly hope will be an epic, epic, epic finale. We're getting so many budding romances, and the stakes are really high, and I can't say more, and I wish I could say more. I love this book so much. This is, as an author, I am so incredibly proud of this book. I'm proud of all of them, but this was one of the ones that I wrote and I thought, holy shit, this could be a really good book. And you never know, there's always fear, there's always imposter syndrome. You think that one day, and then the next day you're like, this is garbage. But I don't think I've ever been excited publishing anything as I was for this book. So if that tells you anything, then I love it. Okay, and then finally, we have The Legacy of Ophelia, which has now been announced. The Legacy of Ophelia is coming on August 7th. I cannot wait. That's now less than 6 months away. I am so, so excited for you guys to learn what happens in this final book. If you've stuck around through this video so far, I'll give you some little teasers, exclusive things. We are seeing some questions about a lot of who really is the villain, who can I trust, who's been using me and manipulating me this entire time. Lots of betrayals on that level. There will be tears, but also, you know, lots of big romantic moments, lots of really, really sweet found family moments. The stakes are so high in this one. I don't even know what else I can say about it. I will say there's a lot of new magic, a lot of new pieces being put together about the lore. A lot of hints of what's gonna come next, because the end of the Myths of Ophelia really opened up the world even further. It showed us even more about how far we can go in this realm, and maybe to realms beyond. There is so much more to conquer in this world, but I am just so excited for you guys to get this fun book. I cannot wait. The last thing I want to do, I realized I didn't do this when I was going through. I want to show you the hardcovers. These are what are on my shelf behind me. So that's the front of book 1. And that's the back. That's one of our meddling angels. That is not the love interest. That is a meddling angel. Don't get confused. This is book 2, The Shards of Ophelia. It's not focusing again. And then there's the back. I don't know if that even showed it to you, if I'm being completely honest. And then I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm going to let you find them later. That is the Curse of Ophelia series. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. It is available in paperback and hardcover. Should be at all retailers. You can find all of the links in my bio, and I'll put them down in the description below. It's coming to audiobook. Book 1 is releasing at the end of June. Book 2 is releasing at the end of July. You can actually pre-order them now. The rest of the series will be following after the whole series has been bought, so it will all be coming to you. Don't worry. So it's going to be a really busy summer between a couple audiobook releases, the release of the final book, hopefully some more good things to share soon. So I am so excited. My pitch for this series is always Throne of Glass meets gender-bent Hercules. If you like the long, epic plot of Throne of Glass and how that built over the course of like the 7 or 8 books, that's why I say Throne of Glass for this series. That's what you're going to love about it. And then also the multiple points of views and the meddling gods and the multiple romances and the slow burns. All of that stuff, if you love all of that in Throne of Glass, that's why I recommend The Curse of Ophelia for you. But then it's got a lot more Greek mythology influences, and it's got our gender-bent Hercules as Ophelia. Gosh, I feel like there are like 700 million more things I could say about this series, but I'm just gonna let you go read it. Bye.